Welcome back, everyone. I hope your day is unfolding gently, filled with peace, joy, and beautiful little blessings. Today, we continue into a new chapter of the stormy yet deeply passionate love story between LyTuTien and CEO Jack. If you have already fallen in love with their journey, don't hesitate to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. That support means the world to me. And it is the biggest encouragement for me to keep bringing you every new episode in the future. And now, let the story begin. At last, the mansion had begun to recover its quiet rhythm after weeks buried in chaos and heartbreaking pain. In the dim glow of sunset, when the final rays of daylight fell weakly across the porch, Tu Tien would often sit silently beside the large window. Her slender fingers moved slowly over each bead of the prayer bracelet the old monk had given her. His deep, echoing voice, like the distant ringing of a temple bell, still lingered in her ears. Do not be afraid. Destiny has never abandoned you. One day, a little soul, the child born from the love between you and Jack, will come. That child will be the thread that binds your fates together. Keep your heart steadfast, and a miracle will appear. At the time, she had only thought those words were gentle comfort, meant to soothe a heart that was still bleeding. And yet, from the day she left that temple, strange dreams began to bloom inside her. The long nights were no longer filled with dread. They became soft, tender moments of comfort instead. In the first dream, she found herself standing in the middle of a vast field covered in silver mist. The grass beneath her bare feet was soft and wet, and the air carried the fresh scent of rain. Then, through the pale haze, a small figure appeared. It was a little boy, perhaps only 3 or 4 years old. His hair was soft, slightly messy from the wind, and his eyes were so clear that they seemed able to see through every sorrow hidden inside her heart. The boy said nothing at first. He only smiled, a smile that lit up the entire space around him. Then his tiny hands reached out toward her, and in the sweetest voice in the world, he called out, "Mom!" Tu Tien jolted awake, tears streaming down her cheeks, her chest rising and falling with sharp, trembling breaths. She tried to calm herself, telling herself it was only the aftershock of longing, a cruel trick played by a wounded heart. But then the dream returned, on the second night, the third night, and every night after that. The child was always there, always calling for her, always carrying that peaceful smile like a promise. Every morning when she woke, her lashes were still wet with tears. But deep inside her, there was a warmth she had never felt before. Maybe tomorrow still holds hope, she whispered, clutching the prayer beads tightly in her hand. Meanwhile, Jack continued living by his strict, disciplined routine. The pressure of the corporation pulled him into tense meetings, exhausting strategy sessions, and endless phone calls. And yet, behind the image of a powerful CEO, he had never stopped searching for the truth. He contacted old connections. He pressured investigators. He was determined to expose the invisible enemy who had once destroyed his home. The scar of loss was still there, but Jack no longer allowed it to swallow him whole. He was learning how to breathe again, even in the middle of violent storms. Every evening, he sat beside Tu Tien and quietly listened as she told him about her dreams. He never interrupted her. He never doubted her. He simply held her hand tightly, his thumb brushing gently over her fragile fingers like a silent promise. If you believe, then I will believe too. Beside them, Mother Loy became the peaceful anchor of the family. She moved through the house with calmness and care. She prepared every meal with quiet patience, reminded Tu Tien to rest, and filled the silences with old family stories. When Tu Tien hesitantly told her about the dreams of the child, Mother Loy only smiled. Her eyes shimmered with understanding. "My child, some dreams are not illusions. They are messages from heaven, sent to remind us that hope still exists. Hold it close, my daughter." Those words sank deep into Tu Tien's heart. She was no longer afraid of the dreams. Instead, she welcomed them like a gift, a small window opening toward the future. As time passed, Tu Tien began taking better care of herself. She walked in the garden every morning. She shared tea with Mother Loy each afternoon. And every night, she stood by the door, waiting for Jack to come home. The pain of the past was still there, but it no longer had the power to drown her. The child in her dreams was teaching her how to live again. Night after night, the little boy returned. Sometimes he appeared in a sunlit garden, placing a wildflower gently into her palm. Sometimes he sat on the ground, carefully stacking pebbles into tiny towers, then turned back to her with a bright smile, his laughter ringing clear like bells. Every dream was simple, and yet every dream left behind a strange sense of peace. She believed with all her heart that this child was real, that somewhere within the flow of destiny, he was waiting for her. One morning, trembling, Tu Tien finally confessed her fear to Mother Loy. "What if all of this is only my imagination, Mom? What if I'm just clinging to shadows?" Mother Loy shook her head and placed a warm hand on her shoulder. "No, my child. That hope is not an illusion. It is the strength keeping you on your feet. Nurture it the way you would care for a tiny young sprout. With patience and love, it will surely grow into something real." Those words gave Tu Tien new courage. From that moment on, the dreams became her secret source of strength. She smiled more, and her eyes shone brighter every time Jack came home. Jack noticed the change in her. Even though he still carried the burden of questions with no answers, he no longer let darkness take over his soul. One night, after hearing Tu Tien describe a dream so vivid that it left her trembling with emotion, Jack pulled her tightly into his arms. His voice was low, but unwavering. "Then we will wait together. We will wait for our son to come back to us." That night, the dream was clearer than ever before. The little boy ran across the meadow, his tiny feet pressing into the soft earth, his cheeks pink with joy. He wrapped his arms around her knees and looked up at her with eyes as bright as stars. "Mom." This time, his voice carried certainty. "I'm coming to you. Please don't be sad anymore." Tu Tien woke up with tears of happiness soaking her pillow. For the first time in many long months, she felt that her heart had finally found a place of peace. The house no longer felt heavy with the lingering warmth of pain. Laughter had returned. To their meals, to their little conversations, and to the simple joy of being together again. Of course, the story was far from over. Every night, the dream still returned. The child still smiled, brighter each time. Coming a little closer to her, Tu Tien knew that no one could ever predict the future. But she also knew this. As long as hope continued to burn inside her chest, the road ahead would never truly be dark. And so, in the quiet stillness of an ordinary night, Tu Tien closed her eyes, a gentle smile resting on her lips. She waited for that familiar voice to rise once more through the veil of sleep. The voice that had become her anchor, her prayer, and the promise of her life. "Mom, I'm here, my love.